نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. النبي أولى بالمؤمنين من أنفسهم وأزواجه أمهاتهم وأولو الأرحام بعضهم أولى ببعض في كتاب الله من المؤمنين والمهاجرين إلا أن تفعلوا إلى أوليائكم معروفا وكان ذلك في الكتاب مسطورا. وإذ أخذنا من النبيين ميثاقهم ومنك ومن نوح وإبراهيم وموسى وعيسى بن مريم وأخذنا منهم ميثاقا غليظا ليسأل الصادقين عن صدقهم وأعد للكافرين عذابا أليما. Respectful honorable friends, continue with the verses of Surah Ahzaab. And as had been mentioned in last week's tafseer, that in this surah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes mention of the honor and respect given to Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. And in last week's tafseer, there was also mention of the three customs that the mushrikeen would believe in. One with regard to that person who is intelligent, has two hearts. The other was with regards to zihar, ascribing or describing a wife to be similar to the mother. And the other is that those who are your adopted sons are in reality not your true sons. As this is something that they had, a custom of theirs was to accept the child to be their own. And that child will be ascribed to the parent, to the father. So when Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam did get married to Zainab bin Jahash, who was previously married to Sayyidina Zayd bin Haritha, the adopted son of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the mushrikeen made a big thing out of it, big matter out of it, that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam has married his own daughter. After clarifying and after eradicating this type of norms and customs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the relationship between Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and the mu'mineen. Allah ta'ala says that النَّبِيُّ أَوْلَى بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَأَزْوَاجُهُ أُمَّهَاتُهُمْ. النبي, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, has a greater relationship with the believers min anfusihim, than even their own selves. وَأَزْوَاجُهُ أُمَّهَاتُهُمْ, and his wives are their mothers. So Allah Ta'ala mentions here that النَّبِيُّ أَوْلَى بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ. That when it comes to the relationship of love between Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and the believers, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has greater relationship, greater love for the believers than they have themselves, for themselves. This is how much affection Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has for the believers. As in one riwayat, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentions that I am the closest to any believer. I am the closest to any believer. That even themselves, and if you wish, then read and recite the verse, النَّبِيُّ أَوْلَى بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ. And then Nabi Kareem also mentioned that if any of you have left any wealth, then that will be distributed to the heirs. And those who have left any debt or orphans, meaning those who are in need of help and assistance, then I am sufficient for them. Means that Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam took it upon himself that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam will tender to their needs, and Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam will become the guardian of those who have left nothing for others, or their family members are in a state of hardship and difficulty. This is the relationship that Nabi Kareem sallallahu has with the believers. And the purpose of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in this is, as is also from the tafsir of Allama Qurtubi, that An-Nabiyyu awla bil mu'minina min anfusihim means that the Nabi is most worthy of being followed and obeyed than anybody else, even your own desires and your own self. So here the relationship he refers towards the relationship of obedience to Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. That from all beings, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Nabi of Allah sallallahu ta'ala sallam is one who is most worthy of being obeyed. And I.T.A should be solely for Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. This is the bond and the special union of bond between the believers and Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. In the Qur'an elsewhere, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يُحَكِّمُوكَ فِي مَا شَجَرَ بَيْنَهُمْ. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specifically mentioning that فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ, by an oath by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you cannot be true believers until you make the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam the judge between your disputes. And not only that, but you then accept the verdict of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. وَلَا تَجِدُونَ فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَرَجًا مِمَّا قَضَيْتَ وَيُسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا. And that you have no objection in obeying the decision of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. On one occasion, Sayyidina Zubair ibn Awam radiallahu ta'ala, the cousin of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he had a dispute with another Ansar. And the dispute was with regards to watering their land. The Ansar complained that Sayyidina Zubair would not allow water to flow to his side of the field. And Sayyidina Zubair, his argument was that he was allowing water to run towards him. So they came to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam with this dispute. And Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Sayyidina Zubair radiallahu ta'ala, O Zubair, irrigate your land first, and then allow the water in the direction of your companion. When Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam said this, the Ansar objected and said that it seems that you are favoring your paternal cousin. When this was mentioned, he said this to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because Zubair radiallahu ta'ala was the cousin of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this individual mentioned it this way, that it seems that you are favoring Sayyidina Zubair because he is related to you. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam became angry at that, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Sayyidina Zubair, instead irrigate your land and fill the land till the wall, and then allow the water to your neighbor. Meaning that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave Sayyidina Zubair his full rights and haqq. Sayyidina Zubair radiallahu ta'ala mentions, or rather Urwa, the son of Zubair, mentions that it is for these matters that this verse was revealed. فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يُحَكِّمُوكَ فِي مَا شَجَرَ بَيْنَهُمْ. That you're not true believers until you do not make Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam your judge, and then you accept the ruling of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. Now just to elaborate and explain this specific incident, Sayyidina Zubair radiallahu ta'ala, and his field was closest to the water outlet. So because his was the closest to it, he had first right towards the water. Many of us may not understand, but those who have seen, back home you will say how the fields are. So you have different plots. And nowadays when people have money and they have the facilities, they have their own sort of water supply. But when that wasn't the case, you would just have one water supply. So whoever was close, you'd have turns or whichever way they would work it out. That you allow water into your land and then you either turn it around or allow it to in the next direction so the water flows to the next field. So Sayyidina Zubair bin Awam radiallahu ta'ala, his field itself was closest to the water, so he had first rights over it. Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam made a compromise here initially. And that compromise was the Nabi sallam said to Sayyidina Zubair that instead of him watering his land to the extent that it is full of water, Nabi sallam said to him, you just irrigate the land, meaning you just give it water. Do not hold the water on your land as yet. And then allow the water to go to your neighbor. So in reality, Nabi Karim's judgment was correct because the water outlet was closest to Sayyidina Zubair radiallahu ta'ala, that is one. And not only that, but Sayyidina Zubair radiallahu ta'ala, because he was nearest to the water, had full rights to water his land fully as much as he wanted to, and then he would allow the water. But instead Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, do not do that, do not keep the water till it fills the land, but rather a case of just water your land and then pass it on. But when this Sahabi objected to what Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had mentioned, that's when Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said to Sayyidina Zubair radiallahu ta'ala, he said, no, now you fill your land all the way up to the wall, meaning your full rights. The wall here means that where there would be the field, there would be this would be a very low wall that would be made, which would be either at the boundary or for where people can walk in between. So this wall, Nabi Kareem mentioned, now fill the water right till the top, so it's soaked. Because this is what you need to do anyway, so it's soaked, so as time passes, it will make use of the water. So Nabi Kareem said to Sayyidina Zubair Allah, he said that the compromise was there, that you water your land, but then let him do what he needs to, and then you do what you need to do again with the water. But when this Sahabi radiallahu ta'ala objected, that's when Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam actually gave the full rights over to Sayyidina Zubair radiallahu ta'ala. So this verse was revealed on that. And this verse is similar to that as well. That an-nabiyyu awla bil mu'minina min anfusihim. That the rights of the Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more than you have upon your own selves as well. That when it comes to obedience, and in that verse Allah says, فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يُحْكِمُوكَ فِي مَا شَجَرَ بَيْنَهُمْ, that you are not true believers until when you accept the judgment of Nabi Qasam. First of all, that you make Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as a judge, and then after he gives the verdict, you accept the verdict of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Until then you do not have complete iman. And since this riwayat as well of Zubair bin Awam radiallahu ta'ala shows that if the Qazi wants, the Qazi has the right of making a compromise and also has the right of giving somebody their full rights before others are given their rights as well. So Allah Ta'ala mentions, An-Nabiyyu awla bil mu'minina min anfusihim. And also that is Nabi Kareem mentions, Wallahi la yu'min hatta akuna habba ilayhi min nafsihi wa waladihi wa nasi ajma'in. And he will divide min malihi wa waladihi wa nasi ajma'in. Some revise for waladihi and some revise for walidihi is mentioned first. That none of you can be a true believer until he does not love Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than he loves himself, and more than he loves his own, walidihi, his parents, waladihi, his own children, wannasi ajma'in, and everybody else. And this is the relationship that we should have with Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And because of the affection that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam has for this ummah, and Nabiyyu awla bil mu'minina min anfusihim, the Nabi has greater rights that he should over the believers, in relationship with the believers, than even their own selves. So this portion of this verse, this shows us the importance of I.T.A. of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that too min anfusihim, over our own will and over our own desire. We should be obeying and we should be following the will of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Further Allah Ta'ala mentions وَأَزْوَاجُهُ, and the Sahaba Kiram radiallahu ta'ala an, in their lives, this is exactly what we have found. That in all matters of their life, It was whatever was the decision of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam is what they had and what they carried out. Min anfusihim, no role whatsoever. They would not choose anything else over the command of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everything would just be the command of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala. And this is because they understood the importance of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. They understood the maqam and role of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. النبي أولى بالمؤمنين من أنفسهم وأزواجه أمهاتهم وأزواجه أمهاتهم الله تعالى وأزواجه أمهاتهم, and his wives are their mothers. وَأَزْوَاجُهُ أُمَّهَاتُهُمْ, that's what we say to the wives of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ummahatul Mu'mineen, because they are the mothers of the Ummah. And now here by mother, it doesn't mean that they have become, there is a relationship of mahramiyat here. They are still haram. And therefore it means that just the way a person cannot marry his mother, none can marry any of the wives of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even after the demise of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And as one's own mother, they deserve utmost respect from all Muslims. But along with this, the ruling of hijab and the ruling of miras and these things still are not your mother itself, actual mother itself. That now is a case of there is no parda, no hijab with the azwaj mutahharat. That wasn't the case. Meaning that in ruling with regards to marriage and with regards to respect, wazwajuhu ummahatuhum, and also and his wives are their mothers. Wazwajuhu ummahatuhum, and the same ruling refers towards this way we say ummahatul mu'mineen. Is this referring to just the men or women as well? Ruling wise, it is specific for men here because of marriage will only be between the ummah and the wives of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that is not permissible. But when it comes to them being the mothers of the ummah, then wazwajuhu ummahatuhum, there are those who are of that opinion that this is only for the men folk, not for the women. And they also cite the riwayat which Aisha radiallahu ta'ala mentions that lastu ummahatukum, I am not your mothers. And in others of the opinion, the ummahatul mu'mineen is general for both. That in mu'mineen, both are included, that males and females as well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions here with regards to, we just shows here as well, the position and the status of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, that the wives of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they then become the mothers of the ummah. And this is because Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself is the ruhani father of the ummah. He's also the ruhani father of the ummah. So when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the ruhani father of the ummah, then the wives of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they also become the ruhani mothers of the ummah. Hence they should be shown such type of honor and respect as well. And this reminds me of something that Maulana Salim Dorad Sahab, when he was here yesterday for Taziyat, he mentioned one waqia of Maulana Mas'ullah Khan Jalalwadi Rahmatullah Alayhi. That when Maulana Mas'ullah Khan Rahmatullah Alayhi came to meet the younger wife of Hazrat Hakim Rahmatullah Alayhi in Pakistan. This was after she had moved to Pakistan from Thanabo. So he went to meet her, and she was behind the parda, behind the hijab. And he had spoken to her, and he said that who it is, and he has come there, and he did mulaqat with her. And he mentioned that Haji Farooq Rahmatullahi mentioned this incident. And he says that while Hazrat Mas'ullah Jalalwadi Rahmatullahi was speaking to Pirani Sahiba behind the hijab, But throughout the time, the manner in which he was speaking to her and the manner in which he was sat was exactly the way he would speak and how he would be sat in front of Hazrat Hakim Umar Rahmatullah. No difference at all. Look, she can't see how he sat and how he is communicating with her. And it isn't even his sheikh that is there. But out of respect for Hazrat Hakim Umar Rahmatullah, his own sheikh, he sat with great respect, just the way he would in the presence of Hazrat Hakim Rahmatullah. That those who are there would had assumed that he is actually addressing and he is speaking to Hazrat Hakim Rahmatullah. With that form of adab, he had sat different. Why? Because that Ruhani ta'aluk and the Ruhani relationship that is there. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was ummahatuhum, because Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is also the Ruhani father of the ummah. The Azwaj Mutahharat are also the Ruhani mothers of the ummah as well. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that because of this ruling was wajhu ummahatuhum, and also with regards to the ruling that we did with regards the foster child and that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clarifies the matter here. And that is that prior to, in the early days of Hijrat, Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam had created ukhuwa, brotherhood, between the Muhajirin and the Ansar. That lots were drawn and certain Muhajirin were fixed with certain Ansar, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam created brotherhood between them. And these Muhajirin had nowhere to live as well, to stay as well, so they would stay at their homes and their places as well. And the Ansar radiallahu ta'ala anhum catered greatly for the Sahaba Kiram, for the Muhajirin. So initially, because the Muhajirin did not have their families and them with them, they had this ukhuwat that was there, so the ruling was that if a Ansar would pass away, the Muhajir would inherit and vice versa. That is how it initially was. But then afterwards, when the Muhajirin established themselves and their families were with them as well, that's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed, Yusikumullah, the various rulings of Miras itself. And this brotherhood was then abrogated with regards to ruling wise. And that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions here as well. That وَأُولُو الْأَرْحَامِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلَى بِبَعْضٍ فِي كِتَابِ اللَّهِ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُهَاجِرِينَ إِلَّا أَن تَفْعَلُوا إِلَىٰ أَوْلِيَاكُمْ مَعْرُوفًا. That Allah Ta'ala says here that in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's book, in Lawh Mahfuz, relatives are closer to each other than the mu'mineen and the muhajirin. Meaning the relatives are closer to each other, meaning the ulul ahram. They have a greater right of inheriting from each other than who? Min al-mu'mineen. Than other mu'mineen who are not relatives, who are not related, and wal muhajirin and the muhajirin. So they will not receive any portion of your estate as an inheritance. إِلَّا أَن تَفْعَلُوا إِلَىٰ أَوْلِيَاكُمْ مَعْرُوفًا. Unless you wish to do a good deed or a good turn to your friends, mean referring towards a bequest, a wasiyat. كان ذلك في الكتاب مسطورا. And this has been documented in the book من اللوح محفوظ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions here that but although the Azwaj Mutahharat are your mothers, and Allah Nabi had paired the Muhajirin with the Ansar, وَأُولُو الْأَرْحَامِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلَى بِبَعْضٍ. But the relatives, they are closer to one another, and that too some from the relatives, al-aqrab fal-aqrab. Here Allah mentions ulul arham. Ulul arham refers to relatives. In Arabic, ulul arham, Allah mentions with regards to the ulul arham, it refers towards the relatives. And in the Quran as well, Allah subhanahu mentions, يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام. Therefore Allah mentions with regards to fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with regards to the arham, meaning relatives. And the arham comes from raham. Raham means womb, meaning the womb relatives, those who are womb relatives. Now this is kept in the general form. There, Fadullah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions ulul arham there as well, refers towards the relatives min jihti nasab wa min jihti nisa. Relatives there from your own blood and also from the relatives from your in-laws, meaning your wife's side. Here ulul arham refers towards relatives in general. And then the fuqaha have mentioned the list of who are closest relatives in the asabat, etc. But here is general more ulul arham, meaning that relatives are closer to each other and than anybody else from one another. And then who the ulul arham are, that is according to each society and custom as to who do you regard to be your relative. But the closest, we all know who your closest relatives are going to be from your blood ties. So Allah Ta'ala says that they are closer to you than anybody else from the believers and the muhajirin, that now they will not inherit from you. إِلَّا أَن تَفْعَلُوا إِلَىٰ أَوْلِيَائِكُمْ مَعْرُوفًا. But Allah Ta'ala says, but if you wish to, you can do a good deed towards them. If you want to, you can do a good deed towards them, unless you wish to do a good turn to your friends. This means those who are not related to you, the muhajirin who are not related to you. And doing good for them is that you can make a bequest for them. And that too, a bequest will be the maximum of 1/3 of the estate. And when it comes to 1/3 as well, this is the maximum. And it is not necessary as well that it should be 1/3. Sayyidina Ibn Abbas mentions that one should not even go up to 1/3. Because when Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was asked with regards to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, kaseer. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave permission to up to 1/3 that can be given as a bequest, but then to Nabi said, فَثُلُثُ kaseer, but that too is a lot. Meaning that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did not specifically approve of that as well, but allowed it till the thuluth. And the reason for this is that the more you're going to make a bequest of, and the bequest is for who? A non-heir. So whoever is a non-heir, so for example here now the Ansar and the Muhajirin will not inherit from one another. But because there was that brotherhood that was there, or there might be some other mu'mineen, meaning your neighbor who is a mu'min who becomes a very good friend of yours, who is closer to you than a relative as well. Not in blood ties, but in relationship. Now, that individual, that person will not inherit from you, but you may feel that, look, that is somebody who is so close to me and you want that they should benefit from your estate. So these are those who you can make a bequest for. Charities will also fall under this if you want to make a bequest for a charity. But now, the thuluth, 1/3 is quite a lot. If you have 3 parts now, then that to 1 full part and 2 just for your relatives, 1/3 is quite a fair bit as well. And Islam wants that those who are your natural blood heirs, they should derive the most benefit and not be deprived. That's why Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned kaseer. And this is very, very important, because those who do know this, there are those who don't know and they just make bequests left, right, center, all over the place. Correct, incorrect. There are those who make wasiyat and bequests for heirs as well. And then those who are aware of this ruling, when they then draw their will or so, and when they make a bequest, and they'll go to that extent and make a full 1/3 bequest. So this is allowed, not that it isn't allowed, but the maximum is only 1/3, not more than that. Now you're going to, that will be batil. It will not be executed. The only time it will be executed is if the other heirs agree to it. So if a person did make such a will in that, wherein their bequest was more than 1/3. For example, they made a figure that X amount, so much thousand should be given to this charity, and that amount works out to be more than 1/3 of the estate. Then if the other heirs agree to it, then fine, we're happy with it, then it is fine, because they are giving that from their share towards that bequest. Then it will be allowed, otherwise it will not be, and only up to 1/3. So it's not necessary that it should be towards 1/3. Allah Ta'ala mentions that كَانَ ذَلِكَ فِي الْكِتَابِ مَسْطُورًا, and this injunction has been documented in the book, in the Lawh Mahfuz, means the change that came about with regards to this relationship. And elsewhere also on this matter, Allah Ta'ala mentions as well, and this is the beauty of Deen in Islam, that which we covered as well previously, that when the time of distribution of the estate comes, sometimes there are those orphans who are there as well, who are under the custody of the deceased. There might be some distant relatives who live with the deceased as well. So when it comes to distribution of the heir, they are deprived of it because they don't get anything at all. Even then, in the Sharia says what? That all the heirs should from their side give something towards them, so at least they feel that we got something. So either in the form of wealth or if it is items, for example. So now there is a relative who's boarding, you can say, at this house, he grows up at this house, or there's an orphan in the house. Somebody very close to the mayyit, for instance, very close to the mayyit. And now the family are doing what they're distributing things, and they might be distributing items and that. So to make this person happy as well, that they should not feel totally deprived, we did not get anything at all the heirs should agree, fine, these couple of things, for example. So let's give this as gift to this person, that look, this is for you as well. So this in that distribution, because everybody is there at that time for the distribution, that what we will get in our share, what's in our share, and that. So in that distribution, then at least they also feel that they got something as well. Meaning just to keep their heart as well. That is how Fadil and Shadid goes as well. Further, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that وَإِذَا أَخَذْنَا مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ مِيثَاقَهُمْ وَمِنْكَ وَمِنْ نُوحٍ وَإِبْرَاهِيمَ وَمُوسَى وَعِيسَى ابْنِ مَرْيَمَ وَأَخَذْنَا مِنْهُمْ مِيثَاقًا غَلِيظًا. And also remember the time when we أَخَذْنَا مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ مِيثَاقَهُمْ, when we took the pledge from the Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam. وَمِنْكَ, and from you, referring to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَمِنْ نُوحٍ وَإِبْرَاهِيمَ وَمُوسَى وَعِيسَى ابْنِ مَرْيَمَ. Allah Ta'ala mentions 5 Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam here. Now remember the pledge that we had taken from the Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam. That has to be on, prior to us being sent to this world, we had the I.T.A. The pledge that was taken between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His creation. A similar pledge was taken with the Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam. And this is the pledge of Nabuwwat. And the pledge that the Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam will fulfill the role of Nabuwwat. This is the pledge referred to here. And in honor of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam, Allah Ta'ala says, وَإِذَا خَذْنَا مِنَ النَّبِيِّ مِيثَاقَهُمْ وَمِنْكَ. Although Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam Nabuwwat came after all of these Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam, but Allah Ta'ala mentioned Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam first. As I mentioned, this surah, in it, Allah Ta'ala mentioned many fazilat of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As in the verse we just did now, Allah Ta'ala says, An-Nabiyyu awla. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is addressed as being An-Nabiyyu. And in the beginning of the surah, Allah Ta'ala says, Ya yuhan Nabiyyu, O Nabi. And this is how Allah Ta'ala has addressed Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam throughout the Qur'an. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's name, Muhammad, is mentioned 5 times in the Qur'an. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has never addressed Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam directly with his name. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's name has been mentioned to clarify certain matters. So the name Muhammad comes in the Qur'an, but when addressing Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allah Ta'ala has not used Muhammad anywhere at all. It has always been with a title. It just shows that bond between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And not only that, but the honor and respect that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Meaning that Allah doesn't need to respect Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, but shows the honor of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that Allah ta'ala is showing us how much honor and respect we need to show to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that Allah ta'ala is not bound to show any respect or honor to anybody, but Allah ta'ala addresses Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in such a manner without directly taking the name of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Even here this verse as well. Allah Ta'ala mentions وَمِنْكَ instead of mentioning the name of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Whereas Nuh is mentioned, Ibrahim, Musa, Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, their names have been mentioned here. And the Anbiya, and this is not bound to just these Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam, as Allah Ta'ala mentions, وَأَخَذْنَا مِنْهُمْ مِيثَاقًا غَلِيظًا. And we took a solemn pledge from them, who? All of them. I mean, not just these 5, but all the other Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam as well. Which means these are those Ulul Azm Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam, the major Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam, Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, Sayyidina Musa and Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. And these are those who, Sayyidina Musa, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, Allah Ta'ala sent kitab towards Musa alayhi salatu wasalam as well, Isa alayhi salatu wasalam as well. And Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam was awwalun nabiyyin ba'atha ila al-ardi. The first Nabi that Allah Ta'ala sent to the earth was Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam. The first prophet itself was Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. But Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu wasalam's role was very different to to the role of Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam. Sayyidina Nuh is the first actual Nabi that Allah sent with a deen towards the people. Sayyidina Ibrahim Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, he didn't come with a specific deen. Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu wasalam's task at that time was more to teach the people how to live in this world. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا ثُمَّ عَرَضَهُمْ عَلَى الْمَلَائِكَةِ. Allah Ta'ala taught Adam alayhi salatu wasalam the names of things in this world. And Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu wasalam implemented this, taught this to people. So his nabuwwat was different. And there was no kufr at that time. Kufr came later on. And hence for that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam. And then the floods came about as well. And at that time it was the ta'limah, the teachings of Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam. Hence Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam has been mentioned first. Ibrahim, Musa, Isa. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, وَخَذْنَا مِنْهُمْ مِيثَاقًا غَلِيظًا. We took a solemn pledge from them all. And the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam are those, all of them, whoever they were. They didn't just take the pledge, but they remained steadfast upon it. With great steadfastness, they fulfilled the pledge of Nabuwwat. Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, we mentioned previously, and there will be more mentioned later on in Surah Nuh alayhi as well. 950 years he pledged, he called his people towards Islam. And only a handful, 80 people also came in the fold of Islam. 950 years, and he persevered. Just shows how steadfast they were. This was what, because وَأَخَذْنَا مِنْهُمْ مِيثَاقًا غَلِيظًا. They maintained their pledge. And the lesson for us is that we've also taken this pledge of La ilaha illallah. And when we have taken this pledge of La ilaha illallah, how important it is that we should show some steadfastness, because our test is nothing at all compared to the test and the imtihan that these Anbiya alayhi salam were put through. لِيَسْأَلَ الصَّادِقِينَ عَنْ صِدْقِهِمْ وَعَدَّ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَذَابًا أَلِيمًا. And Allah Ta'ala mentions so that on the day of Qiyamah, لِيَسْأَلَ الصَّادِقِينَ عَنْ صِدْقِهِمْ, He may ask the truthful ones, meaning the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam, about their truthfulness, about whether they had fulfilled their pledges or not. And the confirmation that they fulfilled the pledge will be evidence against those who do not believe. That's what Allah mentions, وَعَدَّ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَذَابًا أَلِيمًا. Allah has prepared a painful doom for those who do not believe. So Allah Ta'ala says that on the day of Qiyamah, He will ask them, who صَادِقِينَ and صِدْقِهِمْ, the truthful ones, with regards to their truthfulness, meaning with regards to the pledge, or whether they fulfilled it or not. And وَعَدَّ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَذَابًا أَلِيمًا. Allah Ta'ala grants all the understanding. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Next week, all the weekly programs will be after Maghrib, inshallah. After Maghrib next week.